Welcome to the Unleashing Your Powerhouse podcast with Charlene Tarver. Unleashing is all about living into the best and greatest version of yourself. Real truth from and for real people. Edgy, entertaining, and sometimes bougie. Join us for real discussions on everything from dating and sex to entrepreneurship and getting the bag. It's sure to be fun and thought-provoking as we welcome subject matter experts, industry leaders, and my best girlfriends to discuss things you want to know on your journey to unleashing. Join me, your host, Charlene Tarver, for the Unleashing Podcast. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's segment of Unleashing Your Powerhouse with your host, Charlene Tarver. Today, we are closing out Women's History Month with a dynamic speaker, a dynamic woman, Dr. Polote-Williamson. Dr. Cheryl, thank you for joining us on the Unleashing Your Powerhouse podcast. It is truly a pleasure to have you and to have this discussion. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you, Charlene.
Absolutely. I appreciate you as well. And before we start, I just want to share some of Dr. Cheryl's background. I'm not going to tell you everything because I want to make sure that she has enough of an opportunity to share more about herself and her journey and her experience. But I just want you all to know how phenomenal and fabulous this sister is. Dr. Cheryl Polote-Williamson is a trailblazing global media executive, transformational speaker, and multi-best-selling author. Renowned for her visionary leadership, Dr. Cheryl has made a profound impact across industries. As an award-winning filmmaker, she earned an executive producer credit and an HBO Max Award for the acclaimed documentary 20 Pearls, the story of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and also contributed to the powerful film The Invitation, chronicling the history of the Links Incorporated. And as if that weren't enough, her influence continues to grow in the literary world, having recently signed her first book deal with Penguin Random House through Storehouse Publishing. She's a trusted voice on critical platforms, and Dr. Cheryl recently sat on a panel with Michelle Obama, our forever First Lady, to discuss the light we carry, further solidifying her role as a thought leader. Earlier this year, she was also honored by the U.S. Chamber for her outstanding contributions to business and media. Dr. Cheryl's global impact reaches far beyond the United States as the global ambassador for She Empowerment Global. She is set to represent the organization on a speaking trip to Ghana this year, continuing her mission to empower women worldwide. A seasoned speaker, Dr. Cheryl has captivated audiences at prestigious events like the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit, Hallmark Mahogany Summit, the Potter's House, and the National Action Network, just to name a few. She has also led transformative workshops for renowned brands, including New York Life, WeBank, Target, and Sylvan Learning Center. Throughout her career, Dr. Cheryl has earned numerous accolades, including being named one of Dallas's top 25 women, receiving the Indie Author Legacy Award in both 2017 and 2018, and winning multiple African American literary awards. Her leadership and literary excellence continue to be celebrated internationally. She is also the author of 19 best selling books, such as The Art of Influence, and affirmed 365 positive thoughts and actions to start your day. As editor in chief of Cheryl Magazine, she curates a 120-page publication that serves as a love letter to Black women, inspiring them to embrace their power and purpose. Through her companies, Williamson Media Group, LLC, and Cheryl Polote-Williamson, LLC, and as the founder of the nonprofit Soul Reborn, Dr. Cheryl is committed to empowering individuals and making a lasting positive impact. Her work is a testament to her relentless pursuit of excellence and her ability to inspire others to live their truth, living an indelible mark on everyone she encounters. When I tell you all this is a bad sister, this is a bad, this is a bad sister right here. And I am so humbled, Dr. Cheryl, I am so humbled that you are here. Thank you so much. It's truly a pleasure to be in your presence again, even though we're virtual. I appreciate you. I believe in giving our sisters their flowers. Everything that I have spoken today, this is your life, this is your work, this is your background, this is what you created. And so I think it's important to read every single word on here because you did this. This is your accomplishment. Okay. And so I want to wrap this up by acknowledging that Dr. Cheryl has been appointed as the Dean of Trinity International University of Ambassadors, a prestigious role that aligns perfectly with her lifelong mission to inspire and develop future leaders. In her new position, Dr. Polote-Williamson aims to enhance the educational experience at TIUA by fostering innovative programs and initiatives that empower students and equip them with the skills needed to effect meaningful change in their communities and beyond. You are a very powerful and accomplished sister. Thank you so much. Dr. Cheryl, how did you tell us where this all started? Did you ever dream that your life and your accolades would encompass everything that you've accomplished? So tell us where you started and did you ever dream this? Did you
So
dare to dream this big?
I've always dreamed big. I'm actually, which most people don't know, I'm a third generation entrepreneur. So my father's company is actually still open. It is 52 years old. His company is 52 years old. So I grew up in a household where my parents told me that I could do anything, that I could have anything if I believed it, and that I didn't have to have other people to believe in me. Have I always walked that way? They taught me that, but sometimes life has knocked me down and made me feel like that wasn't possible. But through the years, I have realized that through positive mindset and reinforcement, anything can happen for me. Even when doctors have told me, Charlene, about having supraventricular tachycardia and that I would be on a heart monitor and heart medication, my mindset allowed me to think differently. So therefore, now I have a different outcome. I'm not on heart medication. I'm not on a heart monitor. I haven't even seen a cardiologist in over 8 years.
Wow.
To
That's
answer
amazing.
the question about how did I get here, candidly, and I want people to listen in really closely, I got here through one of the lowest points of my life. I got here when I was laying in bed one day, and it wasn't even one day, actually, Charlene. It was a multiple amount of days. In fact, it might have been months if we're just candid. And it was through my husband being diagnosed with cancer, my mother-in-law dying from cancer, and then job changes and different things. And I started to feel like, why is all this happening to me? And as I laid in the bed, the Holy Spirit said to me so clearly, he said, if you get up, he said, I will elevate you in the very eyes of everyone that sought to destroy you, everyone from the closest people to you to the people who are now happy that you are going through so much.
Wow.
So he began to speak into me what I knew as a child, but forgot as a beaten down adult because of things that happen in life sometimes through poor decisions, poor business partnerships, etc. So I started repeating the affirmations about myself that God would say to me and that I knew, but I have forgotten. And one day, the Holy Spirit that same day said, I want you to share what I just gave to you, post that out on social media. So I began posting the affirmations that God said about me on social media. And then thousands of people started contacting me saying, thank you for your transparency. Thank you for this. I really needed that. And one day I was in the shower and the Holy Spirit said, I want you to write a book. And I said, well, what do you want it to be? He said, everything that I poured into you the past 18 months, go on Facebook, pull it off, and that's the book. So that is where Affirmed 365 Thoughts and Actions to Start Your Day came from. That
Wow.
book changed my life because I realized the power of mindset and thoughts and words, and how if you speak them over yourself, then it does not matter what the world says. So after that book, God just started speaking to me. I produced a book. To date, that book has sold over 75,000 copies of that book. And then he started helping me help other people share their stories, Charlene. And then from them sharing their stories, he said, girl, and people always laugh because I said, I love it when he calls me girl. Right. And so I leaned in and he said, it's time for you to do a stage play based on everything that I've taught you. And I said, well, I don't know where to start. And he said, do what you always do, trust me. And so I trusted him, and he put me in touch with someone who had written stage plays, etc. And I want to share this because I think it's critical. Even when you hear the voice of God and he tells you to do certain things, also make sure that you pray and ask him about the partnerships, because everybody that you think that the Lord brought to you is not necessarily who the Lord brought to you. It may look good in that moment because it falls in line. And the reason that I'm saying that to you is because I want people to know that I've experienced that on my journey. I've partnered with the wrong people. I have trusted the wrong people. I have gone into business deals on the sister girl handshake and nothing in writing. And from a business perspective, what I've learned is have a great accountant and a lawyer. Those are two things that if I don't pay anybody else, I'm paying my lawyer and I'm paying my accountant, because that mistaken judgment cost me over $130,000 by
Wow.
not having the right documentation in place. And then when the project took off, it was like, well, I don't need you anymore. You've already paid for everything. The accolades are here. But I will tell you, as only God would have it, he said, I only let that happen because let the play happen because I wanted to see if you would trust me. So I went from doing the stage play to moving into film. And I'm going to stop there because I have a tendency
Oh my
to start talking
goodness.
about the goodness of the Lord that I don't stop talking and let you ask the next question. But I just want to
Well,
say everything happened because I'm willing to look crazy for God. I don't care what people say. When God tells me to do something, Charlene, I don't check with anybody. I just go ahead and do it. And then the world gets the benefit of what God tells me to do.
yeah. Well, that is it's such a powerful testimony. And when I tell you it's something I need to hear today, I think it's something that our audience needs to hear. You know, you said a lot. You said so much, Cheryl, and you started with having a positive mindset.
Yes.
and being able to hear God when God is speaking to you. And oftentimes we don't talk about God. We don't think about God as being a factor in the equation of our success, right?
Yes.
We think when we hit rock bottom, that rock bottom is our rock bottom and that's where we're supposed to stay. And it's because we failed. We
Yes.
don't always understand that it's a part of the grooming and the pruning and the journey.
Yes.
So I want to talk about developing a positive mindset because
Okay.
we have so many sisters that feel beat down, especially now with the current
Yes.
administration, with everything that's happening in the world. Folks are losing some of the federal funding and local funding for their programs. Their businesses are struggling. They started because they weren't making enough money and they thought it was going to be easier. They thought they were going to have the right partnerships and the right
Yes.
partner, and that's not where they are. How do you develop a positive mindset? How do you create that?
So it starts with the first thing you do when you get up in the morning, instead of scrolling and observing everybody else's life, you have to give yourself the lifeblood that you need. So how I do that is I get up, I come to my desk, I journal. I have journaled for now close to probably 30, 40 years. I'll be 60
Wow.
soon. So this is not
But
new.
you start your day journaling
Every single day. I
every day. Okay.
traveling. I don't care if I have to be on a TV set at 4 a.m. If I have to be on a TV set at 4, then I'm up at 3. I don't do anything until I give God that time because I cannot do anything without him. I can't do anything without him and I can do everything with him. So that's a choice that I make. I want to make sure that I'm in alignment. So in order to be in alignment mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, so it'll bless me financially, is I have to spend that time journaling. Many people ask me, well, Cheryl, what's some of the things that you journal? I write down, I receive preferential treatment. I receive God inspired ideas that produce millions of dollars. I am above, not below. I'm in the right place at the right time.
So your journaling is all affirmations. This is
It's after
affirmations. This is you claiming what you want to manifest in your life. Okay, here we
absolutely.
go.
I dated like it says, I win awards. I owe no one. We have 1 million plus subscribers. My credit score is 850. See, what people overcomplicate, I simplify. It's the simple things that will be life changing. So for me, writing something like my credit score is 850, at one time my credit score was 602. So now my credit score is 801. So when I go back and I look and I'm like, oh, I wrote that 6 years ago. When I go back to my journal from 2007, 2008, and I see where it says I worked with Michelle Obama, it took till last year for me to be on the panel with Michelle Obama. But see, I wrote it from the time they went in the White House. See, some people give up after a year. Not me. I keep writing it until it has no choice but to manifest in my life. So it starts with writing it. The next thing is to develop a positive mindset, you have to see it happening before it happens. So
Okay.
after I journal about it, I have vision boards up all around my room. So I like, as I'm talking to you right now, I can see a vision board over in the corner. And sometimes when I'm on with somebody and maybe it's a hard question or something, and I can see that vision board, it'll be something in my spirit that says, girl, that was on your vision board. That's your vision board from 2012, this person that you're talking to right now. So you have to see it before you see it. So for those of you who want to be out of debt, put a zero balance on the bill that just came in and put it up on your board.
Put it up on the board.
Right. For those of you battling cancer, put cancer free and put it up on your board. So you got to see it before you see it. So now you wrote about it, you saw it before you saw it. Now, what you have to do in order to have your mindset change and be in the right place, you have to speak it. So when you're going into a meeting, you can, oh, I know what, I want to give this example. If you put your name forward for a contest or an award, the first thing that you say when you go on the stage should not be, I didn't write anything because I didn't expect to win. I hate that
Mhm.
I hate that I hate use I don't like to use that word, but it irks me when I hear people go up on stage and they say, "Oh my God, I don't have anything ready. I didn't expect to win." I don't know about you, but anytime I put my name forward for any award, I've already picked out the dress, I've already written the speech. I don't do things just to do things.
Okay. You're
Period.
very intentional. You're very strategic. You know, it's funny.
Exactly.
I received an award, I think like a week or so ago. I was in New York City and I didn't know we were going to give comments. And I
Wow.
didn't realize it until probably about 20 minutes before I needed to walk up. And when I went up to accept the award, you know, I'm always asking God to just enter my spirit and give me something that is inspirational that I can share. Because I realize that even with our challenges, with our hurdles and our obstacles and our difficulties, there are so many people that are looking at you, and you are an inspirer. You're a conqueror, you're a warrior, you've overcome. So there are always folks that want to hear the story and the journey. And so I agree with you. When you step up to claim what God has given you, you should always have a story that you can share that's already there. But that also to me is indicative of a life that is well lived and that
Yes.
is very intentional. So I want to go back for a little bit, and I just want to talk about how you grew up because I know God is at the center of your life. Did you grow up in a very religious home? Did you? Because sometimes people say, well, you know, she thinks like that because she came from this kind of environment, and you know, she had money in her bank account, and she has a college degree, and she's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So everything has already been laid out and designed for her to be successful. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your background, you know.
So my parents, when they got married, my father was actually a drugstore clerk. Period. We all, my sister and I, shared a room. My father had a dream that he would not be a drugstore clerk for the rest of his life, and he started working on a construction site. After working on the construction site, he said, "You know what? I can do this." So when my brother turned 4 years old, my father started his construction company and he built the house that my family still now lives in. So
Wow.
silver spoon, no. But over the years of seeing my father work hard, read documentation to figure out how to get to the next level. Mind you, my father is not a college graduate, but he still owns a construction company that has built airports.
Isn't that
Or
it? Look at that. Look at that. Look at God,
yeah,
right? My father had a third grade education. He's
yes,
now passed from glioblastoma, terminal brain cancer. But I think there's so much to be said when you have parents that, irrespective of circumstances and the lives that they were given, they had that grit, they had
yeah,
that tenacity, they had that fear of God and a clearness about purpose, right? And so having that strong example definitely is lays a foundation for you to then go on and be a powerful woman. But then there's so many things, you know, snares and obstacles and traps that we encounter.
absolutely.
You know, are there things that you know, when you look back over your life, you look back over, even if you just go back through your book and the stage play and the magazine, and you mentioned having an accountant, having a lawyer, are there things that happened that could have derailed you,
Oh, yeah,
that are, you know, testimony? Is there a testimony that you would share for somebody who's in the trenches going through and doesn't see or believe they can make it out of an adverse situation? Share something with
absolutely.
us.
I've had people who I trusted, who I have known and brought into my business, and I knew them for 30 years, only to have that person undermine every single thing that I've set up, try to take the company from me, turn people against me while I'm paying them. I'm
How
paying.
do you, how do you because I do find Dr. Cheryl, I have had experiences like that, and it's so hard to continue to try to uplift and elevate women when you have those types of experiences. How do you manage that balance it and then still stay focused on the mission?
So I will say this uh, in the nicest way possible. I have had many Jesus and jail moments.
Ooh,
And
Jesus, let me write that down. You
yes,
said
I
Jesus
have had
and jail.
many Jesus and jail moments with people. What I mean by that is, I remember calling my mom one day and I said, Mama, you might have to get my bail money ready. And she said, What are you talking about? I said, Because this particular sister is going to cause me to really act out and I might end up in jail and you're going to need to have money to put on my books.
Mm.
And I said, so I'm going to have to choose between Jesus and jail. And I will tell you, it is hard because when people know that you love God, they think that they can push you a little bit farther than everybody else. But see, what they don't know about me is I have mastered leaving them for God to handle because I got to keep going to fulfill this thing that He's caused me to calling me to do. And I realized that the devil will use sometimes the closest people to you to derail what God has for you. So for me, I don't want to be that sister that turns against other Black women because of one Black woman or two or three or
There you go. Because that
two.
happens a lot too. Folks
It
kind of
happens
have an
a lot.
experience and then they say, oh, I'm done with that. I'm not doing that
Absolutely.
anymore.
So I'm not that girl. And
Mhm.
anybody who knows, really knows me, knows that I have had some situations where I probably shouldn't even be doing what I'm doing for women, that I should be doing something else with my life. But what I realized was that is a part of who God made me to be. He wanted me to go through all of these things to come out resilient, to show people that you can have all this hardship from dealing and trying to do business and be in relationship with women who many of them are not praying for you, they're praying on you. And that's a big difference.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Tell us the difference between praying for you and praying on you.
Praying on you means that you stay close enough to get as much information as you can to take a person's business down. That's PREYING. Praying for you is, Lord, help my sister with her business. Help her children. Bless her. That's PRAYING. In fact, let me find this real quick. Holy Spirit, let me just read this to you. During a very difficult time, this is what I wrote. It's a pledge for my sisters. I will pray for you and not pray on you. I will not be the cause of your tears. I will not, please hear this, sisters. I will not interfere in your marriage. I will not assassinate your character. I will not be the straw that breaks your back. I will confront you in love rather than destroy you behind your back. I will forgive you quickly and in some instances, love you from a distance to protect my peace. I will support your business. I will pay you for your services and stop trying to barter on every transaction. I will love
Right
you through
now.
your pain. I will not steal your ideas and make them my own. I will keep your secrets and not share them disguised as prayer requests. I will treat you fairly in all business dealings. I will pay my invoices to you on time, and I will not expect the hookup for your services.
So, Dr. Cheryl, I need a copy of that. You just gotta, you have to, I don't know if you can drop it in the chat how we get it, drop it in the chat how we get the book. But I'm going to need that. I'm going to
Okay.
need that because you have some positive, powerful affirmations that you've dropped in there that if we could change you said pray, that
Yes.
PREYING, praying, which is a derivative of predatory, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so we have to move from the mindset of I'm going to be a predator in your life to I'm going to ask God to bless you. I'm going to try and open doors that you can walk through and you can be supported and you can be nurtured and receive what you need. And sometimes we don't know. We
No,
honestly don't know which one we're doing because there's that spirit of envy that comes in.
absolutely.
There's
And
that
it's that
spirit of envy.
competition. It's that spirit of competition. But what people have to realize is God will send you people in your life. It's not about competition, it's about collaboration. For me, when people wonder why is she so blessed, it's because I want to genuinely help people. There is nothing that anybody can take from me that God has promised to me. So I don't ever go into any relationship feeling like, well, I'm not going to share with her how to get a book deal. I'm not going to share with her how to do her film because it's going to take something away from me. It doesn't take anything away from me. It enhances my place in the eyes of God because he sees that I'm not selfish with what he gives to me. And so that's why I know, and I'm going to say this freely, that's why I know I'm successful, because I truly am a person that gives whatever it is that God tells me to do. I don't second guess it. If he tells me to do this for somebody's business, I do it. And I don't say, well, God, they do exactly the same thing that I do. What's going to happen? I never do that. So when you keep your mindset sharp and you go from a place of being collaborative versus competitive, you become unstoppable. So when people ask, how did you know that it was going to happen? Because God said so, because he showed me what he was going to do for me.
He
So I
already showed you.
shrink from it. I don't try to dim my light. If people get uncomfortable when I come in the room, that's their problem. That's not mine. I'm not going to not be who God is calling me to be because somebody around me is comfortable being mediocre or living beneath their birthright and their blessing. And that's hard for people to hear because they feel like, oh, she's not so arrogant. I'm not arrogant. I'm God for them. I'm very confident in who
There
God
you
called
go.
me to be. And there's a difference. It's not about being arrogant. I'm very sure about who he called me to be. I'm very sure that I have more time behind me than I do ahead of me. So I don't have time to keep looking back about the mistakes that I made. All I can do is correct them and move forward and do what he's purposed me to do. And so that's why, Charlene, you can read my bio and it will say film, stage plays, books, because I decided a long time ago that validation is for parking, it's not for people. So I don't need to check with anybody to do anything that God has called and purposed me to do, because who am I to call a man to get a second on something that God told me to do?
God already told you, already gave you the assignment.
He
You
already
are, you
decided.
have no idea of how much you are mentoring to my spirit. The first time I met you was at the US Black Chamber
Yes,
awards program, and you just were, your spirit, your energy, positive, glowing, very warm, very embracing. But I met you through social media.
yes,
And I know every interaction I've had with you, it's always been positive. You've sent me affirmations. So I can attest, just in my time of knowing you, that that is how you show up, right? Because sometimes there's a disconnect between who we think we are
yes,
and how people receive us,
yes,
right? And so your energy, you show up in spaces as empowering and embracing and really very spirit filled. That's how you show up. I want to digress for a moment. I
okay.
want to ask you about Michelle Obama. What
Oh,
was that experience like? That is, I have, there's one person that I put on my vision board every year, and I stopped putting her on there, and that's Oprah Winfrey. So I have not yet met Oprah Winfrey, and I've been in a room with Michelle Obama all the way in the back. So I've never actually had an opportunity to sit and talk with her. What was it like meeting her?
so I will tell you, it was a confirmation for me from the Lord, and it was also life changing at the same time. And I'll explain that, because if you look at her social media, she has millions of people that follow her. Only 7 of us were selected for this specific assignment. And when I got the call that morning that said, hey, the Penguin team wants to meet with you about sitting on this panel, I was like, oh my goodness. And I heard the Holy Spirit say to me, girl, I prepared you back in 2008 when you put it on the board.
You had it on the vision board 2008.
Whenever
And then
even the
you
white.
actually
Mm-hmm.
you actually met her in.
So it would have been 2020, we're in 2025. So it was 2023 when the Light We Carry came out. So to all those years, she stayed on the board. I never stopped believing. So we met with her team. And then that next day they said, okay, so Mrs. Obama is going to come on first and talk to you all. So it was myself and Eden Bridgman from the CEO.
Coca-Cola, Ebony.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it was just the 7 of us. And so when she came on, she was so gracious and so kind. And she thanked us for being there, thanked us for being a part of the Light We Carry. Mm-hmm. What stayed with me was when we started and everybody got asked questions, the question that I got to answer is about having the right people around your kitchen table and what does that mean? And so what a lot of people thought we were actually talking about food, but we were talking about having the right people around you, whether it's in good times, bad times, whatever. And so I got to speak on that question and she said, "Woo, Cheryl, I love that." And I was like, oh my gosh. And so this is what let me know that God saw me and he heard me. So only 2 interviews went on to her webpage from everybody who spoke, and mine was one of the interviews.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So on her permanent social media page, that interview with the Light We Carry, the 2 sound bites that they picked, one of them was mine.
Okay. So I have to pull that up. I'm going to go pull that up.
But she was gracious. She was kind. She was forthcoming. She had an air of royalty, of everything that you would feel when someone is just so positive. And so you could feel, I felt our energy meet each other. I felt like we saw each other. I felt like there was a reason she was on that board, and this was the reason for her to feel my energy eventually in this lifetime, and for me to feel hers. Also, what that said to me, which God has shown to me, that was just an introduction. We are going to do something bigger together. I don't know what that is yet. God has not shown me that, but this I do know. When he tells me something, he always brings it to pass. Whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, it's all in how you manage yourself in the waiting. See, some of us, it's never going to happen for me. Well, you solidified it with your words. You said it's never going to happen for you. So, of course, it's never, hear me, read my lips. If you say it's never going to happen for me, it's never going to happen for you.
It's never going to happen.
And nobody is ever going to be able to talk you into it happening for you, because the belief starts within you, your mindset, what you say to yourself every day. So for those who are listening to Charlene and I that said, oh, my business will never prosper, it will never prosper. If you say it'll never happen for you, it will never happen for you. If you say I could never have my own podcast, you'll never have your own podcast, because you are the biggest naysayer in your own life. You don't even need the world to beat you down. You're beating yourself down.
You're doing it all by yourself.
So you have to change your own narrative in your life in order for your life to be different.
Wow. So the first thing I heard was that positive mindset.
Absolutely.
What I heard just right now is how you manage the waiting, because so many of us, we give up, we get discouraged, we listen to the wrong folks that are in the circle, and then we forego God's greatness for us and even our dreams for ourselves. You've been at the White House. You've been on so many different platforms. You've had so many accomplishments, Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit and the stages and spaces. And how do you maintain the spirit of humility in that, because you come again, you're so authentic and humble, right? And sometimes it goes to people's heads, right? They become difficult to deal with or untouchable, unreachable, unapproachable. How do you maintain the humility, with all of your accomplishments and everything that's going to come next with the book deal? And I do want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk a little bit about what the vision is for the book and when you anticipate you're going to release it. But how do you maintain your humility?
Because if I ever lose that humility, I cannot be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ. People will not take me seriously. So I go out of my way to be the same person that I am online, in person. And the other thing is, I'm smart enough to know that things can change very quickly because I've seen that happen. You can be up here today and down here tomorrow. You can have all the money in the bank, but don't even know that you have the money in the bank because you have dementia. You can be, so I go through life knowing that things can change any moment. So what do I want people to remember about me when that thing changes? If I'm at the bottom, who's going to come and bring me back up? Well, nobody is coming if you stepped on everybody during the climb.
Mm. Mm.
So I go out of my way. I don't step on people. I don't mistreat people. I am the most unproblematic speaker. People have told me that, from speaking at corporations paying $30,000 to corporations paying $5,000. I am very unproblematic because I want people to see that you can have all of these things, but you still have to remember to be kind. Show the same kindness to the janitor that you showed to the CEO. And that's what I want to be remembered for. So how I'm remembered is tied to how I treat people right now. I don't want to be that person, Charlene, that people like, oh, she didn't used to be that way. You could approach her, she would call you back. I'm always that person, whether I have $5 or $500,000. I am still the same person because I want to be a servant. I want to be a servant. And you cannot be a servant if you're not humble. I
Well, I'm working on my humility.
am, and I will tell you
Working
that
on
could be,
I'm working on it, and I need, because when I hear you, I'm thinking, how do you get there? How do you get there? Like, is there a book I can read? Is there a prayer that I pray?
yes,
Because
I
it
have a
is
book
so,
you can read. It's
you
called
got a book?
Art.
I know you do
Yes,
too.
it's
I know
called,
you
it's the
two do,
art
or
of
do too.
influence. It's
It's
called
called.
Art of Influence. And the reason that I wrote that book is because I kept getting inbox messages from people saying, how did you make this happen? What happened here? How did you do this? And so many messages came, and the Holy Spirit said, girl, just go ahead and write the book and let people know a smile is influence. Let them know that influence does not equate to money in the bank. Think about Mother Teresa. She was broke, no money, but look how much influence she had in the world. So I wrote that book for that reason. And I want to always come. Humility will open doors for you that arrogance will close. Humility will get you in rooms that your money does not even. I have been in rooms where I could have wrote a check, but the thing was, I didn't even know that the room existed to write the check in. I got in the room based on somebody else seeing the fact, you know what? We need to get her in this room around these people. I can tell you, Charlene, and a lot of people don't know this. I've owned health fitness clubs. I was the one cleaning up the vomit. I was the one
Mhm.
bags. Nobody knew it, and I never told the club members. They never knew that my husband and I owned that those clubs until a newspaper wrote an article, and my picture and my husband's picture was in there. And then the next day, that's when the members, some of them came in and said, we didn't know that you owned it. And I said, well, let me ask you this. When you scanned into the club, I said, other than you saying, hello, how are you doing? And me saying how I'm doing, when would I have time to say, well, let me just let you know I own this?
No, know you were busy because you had to clean and
Yeah,
do the trash.
and I was collecting their money. And I know sometimes things change when people know you are the owner. So I'm like, they don't need to know I was the owner. And I'll just be candid, 98% of my members didn't look like me.
Yeah. So
Let's just
talk
call it what it is.
about that before we get to the book. Talk about that. Did your support come from the places you expected it to come from?
No. And my support still does not come from the places that I expected to come from. And I don't care how much I give, how much I serve, how much I hook up, and giving people opportunities. I'm praying that the day will come when a light will go off and say, you know what? I keep asking that sister, will she give my organization free magazines, even though I haven't even paid $20 to subscribe? When that light goes off globally, all of our lives will change. When
Everything.
we start supporting one another and pouring into one another and doing all the things, as they say, it will be very different. So my prayer is that God will just continue to use me to be a vehicle and a vessel of hope for people to see we can work together. We can do projects together. We can bring one another to the table. And then after the person brings you to the table, that you don't get there and you're trying to remove their chair as soon as you get there after they
Mm-hmm.
that's a
So
problem too.
that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. And so I try not to dwell on it, because I can tell you, if I dwelled on certain things that have made me feel bad, I wouldn't be where I am. What I do is, in the same journal book, I write down, God, please handle, and I put the people's first and last name.
Oh, okay. You just call them out.
I call them right.
All right.
I don't even, when people are expecting responses on social media, I don't respond to people's negativity on social media. What I do is I write about you.
You
I
put it
write
right in that journal.
in my
Okay.
journal. I say, God, please handle such and such. And especially the people who I've done everything I can to help in business. And then as soon as you start making $5,000, you don't want anything to do with the person that helped you get there, only to realize.
Oh, I've had that. I have had that experience as well. Yes, I
Yeah.
have. Now, I see you have your name on your journal. Is this one of your journals? Is this one of the...
Actually, this is from a Black woman. Her name is Danette, and I get all my journals, and she makes greeting cards. I'm always seeking to do business. And look at this beautiful one. She even sent...
Oh, I love this. You're going to have to text me.
Brown. So please support her, Danette Brown. This is the card she sent me for Easter. She makes custom cards. This Easter.
Oh, beautiful.
This is birthday cards. She is in Cheryl magazine. She has an advertisement. And again, it's DanetteBrown.com, but she does custom cards and journal books. She sent this to me because she said, Cheryl, I see that you are always giving, serving, seeding everybody else. So she said, this was a surprise gift for you. So she actually sent me this journal book. And then here's another beautiful journal book that she sent me.
Okay. You about to help me get my journaling together.
Oh, yes. So now I have journal books. That's the thing about it. But let me tell you about me. I could have said to you, Charlene, this is not my journal book, but let me tell you about mine. I didn't do that. I said, let me tell you about this sister. And I talked about myself last. See, we have to do
because you're elevating, going forward and pulling someone up behind you. Absolutely. And that's what we have to do. With that, Dr. Cheryl, tell us how we can get your books, your journals, how we can follow you, support you. Give us that information.
Absolutely. So on all social media platforms is Cheryl P. Williamson. To purchase signed copies of my books, it is at CherylPWilliamson.com. And the reason I said signed is because if you just want to get any of the books, you can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere books are sold. We're at 177 different platforms that you can order from. But anything signed it has to come through my website, which is CherylPWilliamson.com. And that's it. Cheryl P. Williamson, all social media, CherylPWilliamson.com on the website. And then I have the magazine as well, which is CherylMagazine.com. But you can get all that on the website.
On the website. Now, you and I had spoken very briefly about us bringing you out to the expo last year, 2024, and I had my heart set on it, and things didn't align, but we're going to work on seeing if we can align this year. So I have to give you our dates and see what we can work out, because I would really, truly love to bring you to Central New York. And I think there are so many women here who will be empowered by you and who would enjoy, meeting you and being able to support you as well. I want to shift to the book.
Okay.
Tell us about the book. What's the vision? When are you anticipating it will be available for purchase? And just give us a little snippet about the book.
Okay, so the new book, and ironically, when we get off this call, I'm having my first meeting with Penguin Random House with their.
I am so excited because Penguins, that is huge.
Oh, yes.
That is huge. This is
and
not something you're self-publishing. That
no,
is a major publisher. I'm
and it's a
excited.
big deal because of what you just said, because a lot of people don't understand until I say what I'm about to say. That means that they paid me. I'm not trying to figure out how I'm going to get the money, how I'm going to publish it. They bought my book. And so what the book is my memoir. And the reason that it came about is because so many people were trying to figure out how I got here. How did you get to be an HBO Max award-winning filmmaker with no film experience? How do you now have 5 film when people who went to film school have no film? How did you sell? I think we're at 270,000 books overall of all the books, when you have people that it's hard to sell 2 books. And then from the podcast and how did you build a global media empire off one book? And that's what they purchased. And so I was blessed to be able to be a part of the Women in Words. And the reason I want to share this specifically, Charlene, is because I want people to know the formula. Other people are not going to tell you the formula. They're going to tell you, I got a book deal, you figure it out.
He's telling the truth,
right? So what I did is I was a part of the Women in Words community, which is a part of Penguin Random House. I participated in every session of it. They actually came in and taught you, how do you get an agent? What is the format for writing a proposal? What are they looking for? So after I finished that, then Penguin Random House invited us to Manhattan, to their headquarters. And it was an all-day session. It was amazing. And then from there, they explained about manuscripts. Well, I submitted my manuscript. And so they said that they were expecting, just like a few manuscripts. Well, they got 300. So of the 300, they selected 80. Of the 80, they gave 5 book deals. So here's where it got interesting. So
they received 300.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the 300, they narrowed it down to 80. Mm-hmm. And out of the 80, they ended up giving 5 book deals.
5 book deals.
Oh, that's a blessing. Congratulations.
I was the first one to sign under their new imprint, which is Storehouse Voices, which is the imprint for publisher Tamira Chapman, who now is one of, I think, only 2 Black women in the world to have an imprint. So Penguin Random House gave her the budget and everything and her own imprint, and she signed me first.
So that's beautiful. Congratulations.
And it's amazing because Ariane Simone is now signed under that label, David Talbert from Jingle Jangle. So we're all signed under Penguin Random House. So my book, we moved it. It was supposed to be December is when it was due. But I want to tell you that this is not an easy process. You do not just sign the deal and they drop hundreds of thousands of dollars in your account within 24 hours. I was blessed to get an amazing agent. Everybody doesn't have agents because that's a part of the process too. People were saying, "Oh, you're not going to be able to get an agent because only 2% of people get agent." Well, my agent is the former agent for Martin Lawrence, Kelly Rowland, Jill Psaki from the White House. Um,
Oh,
she is a bad girl. Her name is Georgia Bardner, and she used to be with UTA, and she now has her own literary agency, and I'm signed under her. So she went back and forth for 5 months before I signed the deal. And so I just want people to know it doesn't happen overnight. That money does not hit your account overnight. But the beautiful thing is, when the money hits your account, it's there, and you have the grace. If you don't want to do anything else but write that book, the money is in your account where you don't have to work, so you can focus on getting your book done. So, but you want to spend it wisely, and you want to make good choices, and you don't want to go balling out of control and all these things. So, join Women in Words. For those of you who are looking for a foot in, join Women in Words. And this is my other piece of advice. You get one bite at the apple. So you need to make sure that your proposal that you submit is what you want to submit. When people saw what I submitted, they were like, "Oh my God, I wish I had known that's what I was supposed to do." Well, me, I know that it's one shot because that's what it is for me. I'm like, bring me your best the first time. Don't I? And in fact, I had somebody that wanted to submit a basket for an event that I was having, and it was horrible. And then after she saw the pictures from the event, I never forget it. She called me and she said, "Ooh, if I knew it was going to be like this." My thing was, what did you think it was going to be? And plus, it should have been an excellence because it represented her, not me.
there you go.
That's the
There you
part
go.
people miss. Whatever you send me, it represents you. It does not represent me. So if you send something crappy, unedited, all of this stuff, and then when you get called out on it, you say, "Oh well, I rushed through it. Give me an opportunity." That's not going to happen because they know that you will rush through and turn in half mess. So they're not going to call you back. They're not
That's
even going
true.
to take your recommendation of anybody. So it's just like now it's put me in a position, Charlene, that they know what I'm capable of. When they say, "Well, what are your numbers?" They already know my engagement is through the roof on social media. They already know I've had videos that have done 4.5 million people watching them. And that's what they're looking at. How is she going to be able to sell this book? And people think it's based on, "Oh, I have 1 million subscribers." They're not looking at your subscribers, they're looking at your engagement. So it's plenty of people with 1 million subscribers and one comment and one like. So
Yeah.
that's a part of it. So that's what I'm working on. It's supposed to be turned in April of 2026. I will be going on a 12-city book tour once the book goes out. My agent and I will be going out on tour, and I'm very excited about it. Again, it's a sister. I'm
All right.
my editor and publisher, agent, editor, and publisher are all Black women.
All Black women.
Yes,
Wow. Wow. Well, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Everything that you have said, that last nugget, and I wrote it down. You get one bite at the apple. And I
absolutely.
and I know I've heard that. I've heard that multiple times. Many of us have heard it, but you gave such an excellent example because I know there have been so many times where things have come to me and I was too tired. I wasn't focused. I wasn't ready to hop on the plane so I could be in the
Yes,
room, right? Opportunities that I missed because I wasn't ready to go, right? And so when I listen to everything you've said, putting that vision board together, doing the journaling, getting yourself in the right frame of mind, having the right folks around you, documenting things, staying focused, being intentional, being strategic, being ready, and managing your weight, managing the waiting, right? Some of us, we give up and we get discouraged because it's not happening fast enough,
yes,
right? And then we feel like, well, God favors her, but
yes,
I'm being punished, right? And
yes,
then we spend that very critical energy being envious of somebody else's blessing, right?
yes,
As opposed to how can I get closer and support and get some information and get some mentorship, right? So that I can grow and I can elevate. You
yes.
Again, today, we are just so excited to be joined by Dr. Cheryl Polote-Williamson. You have done such amazing things in your life, and I asked you if you could have imagined this for yourself. I know Oprah always says she never could have dreamed the life, that God gave her much more than she ever could have dreamed, ever could have imagined. What would you say to, I want to ask you, what would you say to your younger self, or maybe, earlier in the journey? And the younger self could be college, it could be the little girl, it could be the early career woman, early entrepreneur. What would you say to your younger self about the journey?
I know this will sound so simplistic, but it is fact. Trust God and love people. And I
Oh,
want to
sounds simple, but
trust, because when you put your trust in other people, it's not good. It's you should all the only person that you should trust fully ever is God, because people will let you down all the time. So trust God and love people. And some people you have to love from afar. And that's it for me. That's what would have changed my life, because people who I put too much trust in, those are the people who I would cross the ocean for, but they wouldn't jump a puddle for me. And sometimes that's painful.
it's
And
very
so I would
painful.
tell that to
It's
my young.
debilitating. It's hard to move beyond that hurt and that disappointment.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I would tell that to my younger self, my 16-year-old self, my 25-year-old self, and my 58-year-old self. Because sometimes, Charlene, I still have to check myself with the level of trust for people. That's why now, I hate to say it, but that's why everybody immediately that work, they get an NDA. And not because I'm doing anything, it's because people will immediately take your Rolodex and your stuff to build their company. They'll use your equipment to build their dreams, but while they build you. And so I'm trusting God and loving people. And some people I'm actively choosing to love from afar,
Really?
because I've come
I
to
love
a place,
this.
right? I've come to a place where my peace is priceless and non-negotiable. So with my peace being priceless and non-negotiable, that means that a lot of people, I'm going to have to give them a beautiful smile and love them from afar.
Well, that's great advice. Now, I keep saying, I keep dancing around the luncheon you just had, and I had my heart set on being there. So it didn't happen for me this year. It's going to be I'm going to put it on my vision board. Matter of fact, I have my vision board in the other room. I haven't even glued my items down. So that's how bad I am. So I'm going to glue them down. I'm going to make a commitment to gluing them down, and I'm going to put the luncheon on there. You had the luncheon. It was what, about a month ago, maybe, in
No, it was
Dallas.
just 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago in
Mhm.
Dallas. I
Yes.
love Dallas. I have great girlfriends that are in Dallas. And sold out event, part of the Cheryl magazine, kind of the announcement of the. Tell us about the luncheon, and tell us, where did the concept of the luncheon and the magazine, how did that all come together for you?
So the magazine, before it was a magazine,
And
was.
it's beautiful, ladies. Let me just say, ladies, gentlemen, in it, everybody. It is beautiful. It's beautiful. The luncheon is beautiful. It's just fun. You are just doing it. You are doing it, Dr. Cheryl. You are doing it. So
You.
tell us
So
about
it
it.
was an 11-page newsletter. And during the pandemic, I got accepted into the Goldman Sachs Small Business Program. And as a
Look
part,
at you. I did Goldman Sachs. I did the
I
10K
loved it.
SB, and
Yeah,
then I also did the 1 million Black women.
I
So,
haven't done that one yet.
okay, so you're part of the 10K. Okay, all
I,
right. Okay,
so
we're
then you know what I'm
co-alum.
talking about when I say they asked me, what is your stretch goal? So I said, I'm going to turn this 11-page newsletter into a magazine. So that's what I did. And was 4 years ago. So the magazine is a testament to Black women. It's my love letter, my 85 to 120 page love letter to Black women unapologetically. I wanted them to see themselves in every page. I didn't want to see us one page and then 50 pages and you might see yourself again. It is inspiration for the everyday woman. It's a gossip-free magazine. We talk about health, travel, finances. I typically feature 5 women, and then we have recipes and arts and those culture. It's not a celebrity-focused magazine. While I have had celebrities on
Because you
the
had a
cover,
celebrity lineup at this luncheon.
yeah, I did, and so that's a part of it. So then the luncheon came in really year 2 of the magazine. The Lord was like, I want you to expand this into a luncheon. And so actually, the magazine expanded into, I do a C-suite retreat. So this will be year 4. So
Okay.
while I was on the retreat, the Lord said, you need to recognize women. And I said, well, what do you want me to do? And he said, I want you to do Cheryl Magazine Woman of Influence Awards Luncheon, and I'll tell you who to honor. He said it's not going to be based. He said people, and the reason I'm saying this is because I get a lot of this. It's not based on, you can't nominate people to me. You can't refer people to me.
Oh,
You can't
wow.
email me and tell me who you think I should nominate. It is whoever the Lord shows me. It's not based on celebrity and it's not based on money. It's based on humanity. So when I give the speech at the luncheon, I don't read the women's bios. I tell people why these women were selected. So like Brittany Ricard, the reason that she was picked this year wasn't because she did $1 million in one day several times. It was because in December, when people struggled to pay their rent, she gave all her tenants free rent.
Oh,
So
okay.
and they don't know until I called them up on the stage why I even nominated them.
Oh, wow. They don't even know why they've been selected.
Nope,
Now, who
because
are some of the other ladies that you honored? Maybe give
I
us
honored
and why you honored them.
Sid Marshall, who is the former CEO of the Dallas Mavericks. This year, I honored Tabitha Brown, Raven Barnes, who owns a construction company here, Shawnee Hostin, who is the Vice President of Multicultural Affairs from AARP. I honored Kimberly Sweet, who is one of only 2 Black women to own a timber farm in the country, but she's a philanthropist. Egypt Sherrard, Tammy Franklin, Denise Polote-Kelly, who is my sister. And the reason that I selected her is because my sister stopped doing certain pieces of her company in
Mhm.
order to help care for my mom and dad because they're in their 80s. My dad still goes to his office every day, but my mom had been sick. And so I
Oh, that's a
honored
blessing.
her. So it was 16 honorees. And it was absolutely fabulous. We had 600 people who purchased tickets. Couldn't even fit anybody else in the room. And everybody said no matter where they sat in the room, they felt loved, they felt seen, they felt valued. We had so many media outlets pick us up, the Associated Press, Yahoo Finance, MSN, um, um, we had 10 outlets. And
Oh, that is beautiful. I had a couple girlfriends that were there. I don't know if you know my girlfriend, Linda Henderson.
Linda was actually one of our vendors. I know Linda.
You know,
Her
she,
recipes, her seasonings were in the gift bags.
oh, I love it. Oh, those seasonings
Yes,
are fabulous. Now, have you tried
yes,
the seasonings?
yes, I
Oh
have.
my God, they're awesome,
Them.
awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
they are awesome, awesome, awesome. Now you know I love talking to you, but my agent just texted me, so
No,
I
no,
got
no,
ready to
no.
get
I
off the call.
appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. One more time
Okay,
before we officially close out, Dr. Cheryl, give us your website
okay,
and your point of contact so that how
okay.
folks can reach you.
So across all social media is Cheryl P. Williamson. The magazine is Cheryl Mag Official. And then my website is CherylPWilliamson.com. And I want to throw this in. If you love Affirmed products, magazines, books, candles, all those things, I have Affirmed by Dr. Cheryl, Affirmed by Dr. Cheryl. So any affirmation product, shirt, backpack, you can get on that website, Affirmed by Dr. Cheryl. Charlene, thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you. I pray that something that you and I have said or discussed today will push someone into purpose, will push someone into praying more about their life. For those who are praying on people, I pray that this conversation will cause you to live differently and realize that when you pray on other people, you are blocking your own blessings. And so I honor you. I thank you. I enjoy being here. And I just love seeing people win. So that's it.
Dr. Cheryl, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. I cannot thank you enough. You have been such a blessing, a tremendous blessing today to me. There were things that were heavy on my heart, and you spoke to them. You really, truly spoke to them. So there is an anointing in your assignment. And so I want to encourage you to continue to do the work that God has put on your heart and put in your spirit. You are touching us not only across the country and across the nation, you are touching us across the world. We didn't have a chance to talk about your global ministry, but I want to encourage as many people as possible. Please, please, please go support our sister. Go and check out the amazing work, purchase, support. I will be purchasing The Art of Influence because I need to better manage my journey. And again, it's CherylPWilliamson.com. And Williamson has two L's. We're going to leave that so that you have that information. But again, Dr. Cheryl, thank you so much for joining us. Continue as we are kind of closing out Women's History Month, and we are stepping into our Financial Literacy Month, and we're looking at how to deepen and strengthen and grow our businesses. I just want to encourage you all to be kind to one another, to empower each other and elevate each other. We have to lift one another up so that we're able to really manifest the boldest, best, and most successful version of ourselves in our lives. And I encourage you to stay tuned and join us for the next segment of Unleashing Your Powerhouse with your host, Charlene Tarver. We'll see you next time. Thank you.